Hey everybody, Brian Von VA. Today, we have a topic that might invoke a serious amount of thought. So, if you have something you'd like to tell us, please do so in the comments below. Until then, what would happen if you could use Speak with Dead in real life? Well, at a minimum, it would require some rewrites to the various laws, rules, and regulations around judicial procedure and evidence. First, it's important to realize that the corpse may not be telling you the truth, or they may not be giving you useful information. It cannot speculate on the future, nor does it know or understand anything that happened after it died. With these restrictions, we can see that while it's useful, it's not an instant solve button for murders. 10 days is a lot of time in between batches of 5 questions. It's not a magic solution to disputed wills either. The corpse can lie, and can't comprehend the concept of its will being probated for months after its death. And it can't be automatically relied upon with a presumption of truth, relevance, or admissibility. It would require an extraordinary amount of spell power to maintain. The federal rules of civil procedure typically limit parties to 25 interrogatories and 10 depositions, the latter of which may be up to 7 hours each. Now, Speak with Dead gives you 5 questions, and that lasts 10 minutes, and the answer may be repetitive or cryptic. It would take an immense amount of 3rd level spell slots to max out the potential amount of questions that may be asked in a federal court case. Do y'all even know the cost of a 5th level or higher clerics in this economy? And with a 10-foot range, they must have the corpse present, so they can't even remotely work from home. So, what we'd end up is needing a rewrite of the rules at every level of government that would functionally allow for a corpse to be treated as a special purpose witness, with limitations on the types of questions asked and the presumptions allowed by the jury or judicial finder of fact when considering the truth of those statements. For instance, what if we want a corpse to serve as an expert witness to provide opinion evidence? How can a potentially lying, cryptic, repetitive corpse with limited knowledge meet the standard that requires the testimony is based on sufficient facts or data, is the product of reliable principles and methods, and that the corpse expert reliably applied the principles and methods to the facts of the case? Trial lawyers are laughing their asses off right now, imagining the chaos this would cause because they know how absurdly difficult it is to get judges to consider simply the effects of basic technology on the law, let alone getting the judicial conference to amend the federal rules to account for this. And then you've got to get all the states, municipal, and administrative bodies where this is applicable to do the same. Everywhere. Ideally something following a model rule. Oh, but wait, it gets worse. Picture this. The year is 2025. Elon Musk is desperate for a new company to destroy. Calling all of his outsourced providers across the developing world, he hires every 5th level cleric he can get his hands on H-1B visas, of course, so they can't quit, and pivots Twitter's primary offering into Speak with Dead as a service, a multi-tiered subscription service providing access to an eclectic variety of deceased souls. However, the true revolution lay not just in offering consolation chats for the grieving or the curious. Musk saw an untapped gold mine of knowledge. His ambition soared beyond the sorrowful pleas for one last conversation. In a visionary keynote speech that crashed 35 times because Twitter refused to pay the bill on their Virginia data center, Musk unveiled Twitter's newest venture, Kronos. Kronos, a sophisticated AI model, was fed with a trove of wisdom from history's greatest minds. By leveraging SWDAAS, it could make contact with brilliant minds of the past, scientists, artists, philosophers, even skilled artisans, and extract a bounty of knowledge from beyond the grave. These invaluable insights were subsequently used to teach the AI, which would then make this historical wisdom accessible to Twitter users with a hefty monthly service fee, plus additional fees for heavy token usage.
We're not merely a communication service. We're custodians of history. Ugh!
Musk had declared.
Imagine a world where we could ask Hitler for his thoughts about the Jews. Our collective past becomes our collective future.
That sounded very Mel Gibson-y there, Musk. In response to queries from several Fox News broadcasters asking whether Kronos could be trained exclusively for answers on Robert E. Lee and Rush Limbaugh, instead, Musk replied,
Interesting. Looking into this.
Simultaneously, Musk launched Eternity, a package that allowed living Twitter Blue subscribers to pre-record their thoughts, insights, and experiences in the form of AI-powered post-mortem tweets, effectively ensuring their own participation in the SWD AAS network upon death. Twitter Blue customers could now join the ranks of the historical elite with their as-yet unwritten tweets about hating trans people made available to future generations in perpetuity. Additionally, Musk said he was contemplating the idea of making Eternity the default view on the timeline for non-Twitter Blue subscribers, whom he accused of all being bots anyway. Thanks, but I'll take lichdom if that's the future. Also, wow, you nailed a lot of hot topics in that one, and I could totally see someone like Musk stealing all that and being such a heartless, evil man. We would find more bodies with missing jaws and crushed heads. One of the stipulations of Speak with Dead is that the body has to still have a mouth to speak with, and the general consensus is that the mouth must be mostly intact and functional, the throat and lungs not so much. So when you know a dead body can rat out a secret worth killing for, you're going to have to take the steps needed to keep the dead quiet. Of course, not every murder victim will be so carefully dealt with. There will still be crimes of passion, idiot criminals, and bodies that were improperly disposed of. At the same time, not every murder victim would be able to solve their own case. A dead witness is about as reliable as a live one, though you can at least be sure they're telling the truth as they know it. And of course, anthropology would be 10 times more exciting. The answer presumes a critical factor, that the dead want to say anything to the living. One would hope that, apart from the stereotypical emotional farewells and well wishes, that the dead really can't be brought to care about anything in the living world. However, what if it is not? The line between life and death would blur. Rich and powerful dead would cling to their mortal wealth, commissioning spellcasters to contact them regularly, to send information and get instructions on how to manipulate the living world in their name. Indeed, many people would hide their death from public knowledge to better maintain the illusion of their control. Scammers and con artists would harass the dead, just as they do the elderly living with fraud phone calls today. That's gross. One might imagine a god of death would inevitably put an end to all necromancy, to restore the barrier between life and death, and end the intrusion of tawdry material concerns and chaos into the serenity of oblivion. It would greatly reduce the number of disputed wills and arguments about did the deceased want cremation or burial. However, organ harvesting might make the talking harder for the dead. Well, besides the other answers here, murders without witnesses would be somewhat easier to clear up, unless the dead are capable of lying. In the case of lethal accidents, it would be easier to find out what went wrong. We would be able to find out if there was an afterlife or many different afterlives, and which of all the 1,000 gods were real. Again, if the dead can lie, this becomes an issue. You would be able to say your final goodbyes to people who died before you could say goodbye. That's a big one. We could also find out which execution methods are inhumane and actually cause pain or cause emotional distress, which is probably all of them. We could also find out if the person was innocent of the crime they were executed for, unless they were capable of lying while under the spell's influence, which would be bad. In cases where people are in an apparently non-recoverable vegetable state on life support, we could establish for certain that if the patient was actually effectively brain dead or not. If their brain was still alive, you wouldn't be able to speak with the dead. Historical studies and our understandings of the past would be massively improved by eyewitness testimony and authentic primary sources. I'm sure there's more, but that's a good bit to be going on with. Assuming the spell spontaneously appeared, this would be bad. Well, somebody would insist that it was charlatanism, People would insist that it's all been faked, done with special effects, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Hercule. I would assume it would still be a pretty rare occurrence to witness the spell being cast firsthand. People might not generally believe it until it makes its way into our television cop stories. Oh, God. Somebody would insist its use to be regulated. Not just because going up to a corpse in the middle of their funeral is rude. You could actively block investigations of homicide victims by being the first person to the body every 10 days. You would probably have to get a warrant to cast it. You would probably see people removing the jawbone of dead people, either to hide something or to let the spirit have some damn peace. Somebody would insist that its practitioners be licensed. We would also probably end up making them have to get a mortician's training or something. And a lot of psychology. Assuming it's the only spell that goes live, at least. If the whole spell list suddenly appears, oh, the world will have bigger fish to fry. Somebody would start burning witches. Can't be helped in our political climate. We would probably end up with the Christianist Sharia law faster than you could say life after death. Most of us would probably never know for sure that the spell worked or what its limitations were, but we would think we knew regardless of what our actual exposure was. Good luck out there. It lasts 10 minutes, and you need incense. From the Player's Handbook. You grant the semblance of life and intelligence to a corpse of your choice within range, allowing it to answer the questions you pose. The corpse must still have a mouth and can't be undead. The spell fails if the corpse was the target of this spell within the last 10 days. Until the spell ends, you can ask the corpse up to 5 questions. The corpse knows only what it knew in life, including the languages it knew. Answers are usually brief, cryptic, or repetitive, and the corpse is under no compulsion to offer a truthful answer if you are hostile to it or recognizes you as an enemy. This spell doesn't return the creature's soul to its body, only its animating spirit. Thus, the corpse can't learn new information, doesn't comprehend anything that has happened since it died, and can't speculate about future events. Of course, magic doesn't exist in real life, so it's kind of moot. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA back at it again, checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let me know if you had Speak with Dead in real life, what would you do with it? Would you contact a loved one? Would you contact a friend? Or would you use it for nefarious purposes? Either way, I love you all. Please be safe, happy, and healthy, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.